ever feel like you're trying to drink from a fire hose of information, we get it.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, right?
Totally. So today we're doing the hard work for you. We've been sifting through the nuts and bolts of a learning platform called Baffl.
hmm We looked at, user guides, feature descriptions, even troubleshooting tips.
Engagement strategies, the works, we've really dug through it all.
And our goal here, our sort of mission for this deep dive, is simple. We want to show you how Baffl could genuinely change how you approach learning and engagement.
Whether you're sharing knowledge or just trying to make it stick yourself.
Exactly. We hope by the end you're thinking, this is a tool I really need to check out.
Right. So what is Baffl? At its heart, it's kind of like a dynamic digital game show, but designed specifically for learning.
It's a web-based trivia platform, yeah, but with what they call an education-first approach.
Meaning it's built for teachers, corporate trainers, event organizers, anyone trying to make learning more interactive. Okay, let's dive in. What makes it tick?
Well, let's start with the host side of things. What really stands out is how incredibly simple it seems to be to just launch a game.
Right. They talk about intuitive game creation, like getting something up and running in minutes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is huge if you've ever battled with clunky software.
Oh, tell me about it. And it's not just fast, it's flexible too, right? You can make your own questions.
You can absolutely tailor them right to your content. Or, and this is a big time saver, they have a pretty extensive pre-made question bank you can tap into.
Okay, that's handy for inspiration or if you're short on time.
And here's something really interesting. They've got a new feature called Question Set Remix.
Question Set Remix, what's that about?
It sounds like it lets you take existing question sets, maybe yours, maybe from their library, and then kind of mash them up. Filter, combine, select specific questions.
Oh, I see. So you can create a new targeted quiz from stuff that already exists.
Exactly. It's about adapting content quickly, maybe hitting specific learning gaps you've noticed without starting from scratch every single time. Ultimate flexibility, they call it.
That sounds genuinely useful, like Lego for quiz questions. Okay, so you've built your game. What happens when it's actually running? You're not just hoping for the best, are you?
No. You get real-time monitoring. There's a host dashboard.
Right. What does that show you?
Key things, like the overall game status, who's actually logged in and playing the player list. You see the question that's currently displayed, and you have controls for the timer.
So you can kind of see the pulse of the game as it happens.
Precisely. That immediate feedback loop is, well, it's invaluable, isn't it? See who's getting it, where people might be struggling.
Instantly.
But it doesn't stop there. After the game ends, Baffl gives you detailed performance reports.
And these aren't just simple scores, I gather.
No, much deeper. You get breakdowns of individual performance, group performance. You can see who did well, but also, crucially, where the common misunderstandings were.
Ah, so you can spot trends. Like if everyone missed question 5.
Exactly. It highlights those commonly missed questions. Plus, you can track performance over time with historical comparisons.
Okay, that's good for seeing progress.
And for the real data nerds, you can export everything for, more advanced analysis in Excel or whatever.
Nice. So it turns the post-game review into something actually useful for planning next steps.
Yeah, it's strategic.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the host side. What about the players? Their experience is just as important, right?
Absolutely. If it's a pain for them, it doesn't matter how good the host tools are. From what we saw, joining sounds incredibly simple.
Yeah.
They talk about a quick join. Basically, enter a game code and you're in.
Well,
from any device.
No app downloads or anything.
Nope, seems not. Just a web browser.
Yeah.
Which lowers the barriers significantly.
That's smart. And once they're in, is it just like a boring online form?
Doesn't sound like it. They describe it as an engaging interface. More interactive, more game-like. And importantly for learning, players get instant feedback. They see the correct answer, sometimes explanations, right after they respond.
That immediate reinforcement. That's huge for making things stick, either confirming you got it right or correcting you straight away.
Exactly. Okay, so we understand the core idea, some key features for hosts and players. How about actually, setting up your very first game? Walk us through it.
Sure. It sounds pretty guided. You find the host a game button, probably prominent on their main page. Click that.
Okay.
First step, give your game a name. Something descriptive helps, right? Like Chapter 3 Quiz, Biology 101 or whatever. Helps you find it later.
Good tip. Then what? Settings.
Yeah, basic game settings, like the time limit per question. They suggest maybe 20, 30 seconds is a good starting point for trivia.
Okay, keeps things moving.
Then you choose the mode. Sequential means everyone answers together question by question. Self-paced lets people go at their own speed.
Ah, like for homework, maybe?
Could be, yeah. And you can turn team mode on or off.
Right. Now, the questions themselves. We mentioned options.
Yep, you can type them in manually, one by one.
Standard.
You can use a CSV upload, basically. Prep your questions in a spreadsheet and upload them all at once. Great for lots of questions.
Definitely a time saver for bulk creation.
Then there's the AI generation. They've integrated ChatGPT.
Oh, interesting. So it can help you come up with questions.
Yeah, for quick inspiration, brainstorming, getting over writer's block. Might need some tweaking, but it's a starting point.
And the remix feature we talked about, pulling from existing sets.
Right, that's the other way. So multiple paths to getting your content in.
So questions are in. What's next? Just hit go.
Probably best to review them first.
Yeah.
The platform encourages checking for accuracy, maybe setting difficulty levels.
Ah, good point. Mix it up a bit.
Yeah, you can reorder them, group them. They even suggest maybe starting with a few easier ones to build confidence.
Makes sense. Ease people in.
Once you're happy, Baffl generates that unique game code. That's the key for players.
The magic key. How do you share it?
Different ways. Display it on your screen if you're in person, share it digitally, email, chat, whatever, or use a direct link.
Okay, flexible.
Then you just watch the player list populate on your dashboard as people join. When you're ready, hit Start Game.
Seems straightforward enough. Okay, so we see it's engaging, easy to set up, but they also position Baffl as an assessment tool. How does, like, a fun trivia game actually measure understanding effectively?
That's a really crucial point. And the sources suggest that trivia, when it's designed thoughtfully, can be a surprisingly powerful way to assess learning authentically. It keeps engagement high while giving you real insights.
Okay, I'm listening. How so? What kinds of assessment?
Well, Baffl seems to support 4 main types. First, formative assessment. Think of these as quick checks during the learning process.
Like mid-lesson.
Exactly.
Mm.
See where everyone's at, reinforce a concept you just taught, maybe spot misunderstandings early before they become bigger problems. A quick Baffl quiz right after explaining something difficult, for example.
Like taking the temperature of the room, but with data. Okay, what else?
Then there's summative assessment. This is the one that usually happens at the end of a unit or module.
The big test, basically.
Sort of, yeah. It's more comprehensive, evaluating the overall knowledge and skills they've hopefully acquired. Could be for grades, could be for certification, that kind of thing.
Got it. End of unit wrap-up. What's the third type?
Diagnostic assessment. This happens before you even start teaching something new,
Okay, why?
to figure out what learners already know or don't know. Identify knowledge gaps up front. Maybe see if certain prerequisite skills are missing. It can help you tailor your teaching from day one.
Makes sense. Find out where they're starting from. And the last one.
Self-assessment. This is more ongoing, helping learners reflect on their own understanding.
How does Baffl help with that?
Well, you could maybe ask them to rate their confidence on answers, or simply give them access to their own performance reports so they can see where they excelled or struggled and set their own goals.
Interesting. So, across all these assessment types, what makes it good assessment using Baffl? Are there principles?
Yeah, the sources hit on key things. First, alignment. Your questions must align with your actual learning objective. What are you trying to teach? Assess that.
Obvious but critical.
Definitely. Second, appropriate difficulty. You need a mix, right? Not too easy, not impossible. Challenge everyone appropriately.
Yay.
Clear success criteria are also important. Learners should know what good looks like. And finally, meaningful data. The results you get should actually tell you something useful about the learning.
Actionable insights, not just scores.
Exactly.
Now, when you're actually writing these assessment questions, I think the sources mentioned Bloom's taxonomy. That sounds familiar, but a bit academic.
It can sound that way, but it's actually a really practical framework. Think of it like levels of thinking.
Okay.
At the bottom, you have remembering, just recalling facts. Then understanding, explaining ideas, applying, using knowledge in new situations. Then higher levels, like analyzing, evaluating, and creating.
So you can write Baffl questions that target these different levels.
Precisely. Instead of just asking, what is X, you could ask, why is X important? Or compare X and Y, or how would you use X to solve problem Z? It pushes beyond simple recall.
Ah, okay. That makes assessment potentially much richer than just multiple choice fact checks.
Exactly. And speaking of question types, Baffl offers a few, right? How do they fit assessment?
Right, they mentioned multiple choice, true, false.
Yeah, so multiple choice is efficient for covering a lot of ground, gives clear data. True-false is quick for basic facts. Multiple select, where there might be more than one right answer, can probe deeper understanding.
Okay.
And short answer questions make learners recall information without prompts, reducing guessing. Each type has its place depending on what cognitive skill you're trying to assess.
Got it. So Baffle collects all this data as people play. What specific metrics can a host actually see?
Quite a few. For individuals, you can track their accuracy, obviously, but also their response time. Are they fast or slow on certain topics?
Hmm.
Performance across different categories or domains if you've tagged your questions.
Oh, that's useful.
And importantly, improvement over time if they play multiple games.
And for the group?
You see the average scores, naturally, but also those commonly missed questions we mentioned. The overall distribution of scores, did everyone cluster together or was it spread out? And you can compare different groups or sessions.
Wow, that's actually quite a bit of information. And this is all presented in their analytics dashboard.
Seems so. They talk about performance dashboards with visualizations, detailed question analytics, showing how everyone answered each question, individual reports, historical tracking, and that export option.
So yeah, it really does seem to go beyond just being a fun quiz. It's a proper data tool for understanding learning.
That seems to be the aim.
Okay, shifting gears slightly. Beyond just formal assessment, how can you just use Baffle to make learning more engaging? Keep people interested?
Good question. The sources had several ideas here. A big one is creating meaningful context for the game.
What do you mean?
Like, don't just have random trivia. Connect the questions to real-world scenarios, problems they might actually face, or the overall story of what you're teaching. Make it relevant.
Right. Give it purpose beyond just points.
Exactly. Another powerful one is integrating team-based competition.
Ah, the rivalry factor.
Yeah. Putting people into teams, having departments compete in a training session that can seriously boost energy and participation.
I can totally see that working. What else?
Using varied question formats helps. Mix it up.
Yeah.
And definitely leverage multimedia. Adding images, maybe short audio or video clips, followed by a question about them. That caters to different learning styles, keeps it fresh.
Yeah, avoids monotony.
Providing good feedback is key too. Not just correcting correct, but maybe a short explanation for why an answer is right. Reinforces the learning.
Mm-hmm. And game mechanics.
Yeah, things like progressive scoring, where later questions are worth more, or maybe comeback mechanics so teams that fall behind still have a chance. Adds excitement.
And we mentioned teams. Does Baffle have features for team communication?
Yeah, in team mode, they often mention an in-game chat. Lets team members discuss answers, strategize a bit.
Okay, fosters collaboration.
And you could use the Baffle game itself as a springboard for wider discussions, either before or after.
Nice. What about keeping people motivated long term? Leaderboards.
Yep, leaderboards are a classic recognition system, foster that friendly competition. They also mention digital badges for achievements.
Little virtual pats on the back.
Pretty much. And you can tie it to other incentive structures too, maybe small rewards or educational benefits depending on the context.
Okay, so lots of ways to spice things up. Now, it sounds like Baffle isn't just one single type of game either. There are different modes.
Exactly. It's not one size fits all. The standard mode is probably what most people think of first.
Like the basic trivia game.
Yeah. Sequential questions, everyone answers against the clock, live leaderboard, good for general use, quick checks.
Okay. And we know team mode. What else?
There's self-paced mode. We touched on this. Players go through questions at their own speed. Maybe there's a deadline, maybe not.
Good for homework. Individual practice.
Right. Then there's live host mode. Here, you, the host, control the pace entirely. You reveal questions, reveal answers, pause for discussion whenever you want.
Better for like a live presentation or a guided walkthrough.
Exactly. And for bigger events, they have a tournament mode.
Ooh, sounds serious.
It's multi-round, usually elimination style. Good for longer competitions, maybe building excitement over a few sessions.
Wow, okay. So quite a range of options depending on what you need. Good to know. Now, one last practical thing. Technology. Sometimes things go wrong, right? What if you hit a snag? Is there help?
Yeah, inevitably things can get a little temperamental sometimes. The sources do indicate Baffle provides support.
Okay, what kind?
They seem to have resources addressing common issues, login trouble, game code problems, connection issues, maybe the game feeling sluggish.
Standard tech hiccups.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They point people towards a support center, help guides, and they give an actual email address. support@baffle.app.
So help is available if needed. That's reassuring.
Seems so. They sound committed to helping users out.
Okay. So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, we've gone through the features, setup, assessment, engagement, different modes, support. quite a journey through Baffl.
We covered a lot of ground.
Based on everything we've looked at, what's the sort of core value proposition, the main takeaway for someone listening?
I think ultimately, Baffl really presents itself as a dynamic and, importantly, versatile way to boost learning and check understanding. It seems to manage being both engaging and insightful.
Yeah, the intuitive design combined with the range of features and that educational focus, it does seem compelling for teachers, trainers, anyone in that space.
Definitely worth considering, I'd say.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and thinking, hey, this sounds like it could actually make my training sessions less boring, or this might help my students grasp concepts better, or even just maybe my next team meeting doesn't have to be a total snooze fest,
Uh-huh.
then we definitely encourage you to give Baffl a try. Check out their website, maybe start with a free account, explore those, host a game, and join a game options they mentioned.
Sounds like a good place to start just playing around with it.
For sure. Which leads us to maybe a final thought to leave you with.
Okay.
Imagine taking your next study session, your next team training, your next class review,
Yeah.
and turning it into something properly interactive and genuinely insightful using a tool like this. What topics would you want to deep dive into with Baffl?
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How could you apply that interactive approach to what you do?
Exactly. Food for thought. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Baffl. We hope you find it useful.
Yeah, hope it was insightful.
Until our next exploration, keep learning.